Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with just Scorcher. Today is the top 10 Kirby games. Yep. I'm surprised you didn't save this for the last of the month. So, second video of the Kirby month, so let's check out the top of the games, huh? Or best of the Kirby games, sorry. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's check it out. Hey!
If there's one thing that Kirby has always excelled in, it's consistent quality. Even the best franchises of all time have that one installment that just didn't work. With Kirby, the games are always at least decent. Heck, the two most disliked games in the series, I'd have to say are 7 out of 10 at worst. Anyway, let's set out to find which game delivered the full course of fun gameplay, cheery visuals, and that traditionally disturbing finale.
Expect anything less from Kirby? First up, number 10.
Imagine, if you would, a game that takes all the characters from a big Nintendo franchise and places them in a scenario in which they have to race each other. Players would get the chance to race as their favorite characters, and the tracks they'd race on would be based on locations from said games. I am, of course, talking about Kirby Air Ride.
There we go.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go?
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, believe it or not, Kirby got a racing game. It was actually slated to be one of the first games for the N64, but then went through several revisions and got quietly canceled before eventually making its way onto the GameCube. If you initially perceived this game as just a clone of Mario Kart,
only if you do that with Wily v. Acme.
It didn't exactly get the best reception upon release, but honestly, it's not a bad game. It may be what you would expect when you think Kirby racing game, but what really works in its favor is its various modes. Air Ride is basically a free-for-all with a lot of the standard mechanics, but playing as Kirby does let you gain the abilities of your opponents, same as any Kirby game. Actually, kind of like Top Ride 2. A little simplistic, but you get your overhead view of your glider, gliding's disabled, and you even have the option to race yourself. Now, City Trial. This is what separates your Air Ride from your Mario Kart. Wander around in a large city, gather patches, and upgrade your machine with them, and everyone takes their tricked-out ride into one final clash. It's made even more fun with events like dense fog, flying meteor, fake power-ups, item bounce, and what's in the box? If all that sounds familiar, it should. It was the framework for the Smash run on Smash Bros. 3DS. And I'm still trying to figure out why Sakurai hasn't added it back, the tool! I don't actually mean that, Sakurai. You're wonderful. I'm thankful for all you've done for us. So yeah, it started with a bit of a black sheep entry into the Kirby franchise, but if the idea of watching Kirby speed into first place on a Warp Star past DDD and Meta Knight gets you excited, I want to put down the Double Dash for and give this Kirby racing game a try. Also, no blue shell to knock you out of first place. Good!
Fair enough. That's first up, Air Ride. Next up, number 9.
Kirby games mostly have the basic core, but each game sets itself apart from the others by some little innovation or gimmick. Even games you'd typically see as bargain bin shovelware still have the chance to turn out really good, if Air Ride is any indication. And to follow it up, we got Mass Attack. Released like the final Kirby game at the end of the DS's lifespan, Mass Attack was ready to go out with a bang. The whole game centers around controlling up to 10 Kirbys with the touchscreen as you run around huge 2D levels and take down enemies by swarming them to death. So basically, hey Pikmin, but good. Now, controlling 10 Kirbys may seem like a huge undertaking at first, and it is. This is one of the hardest games in the series, alongside Canvas Curse and Superstar Ultra. It's already intense enough to keep each Kirby alive through these long levels, but getting the full completion for each level can take a really long time. But through a solid gameplay loop, the adventure is worth it. Heck, even if you don't think the premise is good enough to carry a whole game, the extra content more than makes up for it. Mass Attack is a collection of some of the best, most elaborate minigames the series has ever had. From a gorgeous and hectic shoot-'em-up to an RPG campaign. Not mock-ups like the computer virus either. No. A real one that makes us wish it was a standalone game. The sheer quality of Mass Attack really makes digging through obscure titles in a popular franchise all the more worth it. Really makes us wish other series got this level of treatment.
Sorry, Metroid. Just blame your creators or forever. I don't know. Number 8. What's next?
As with any long-running franchise, going back to the very first Kirby game is a weird experience. While Dreamland is a perfectly serviceable game, it lacks the most defining feature of the franchise, copy abilities. And this brings us to where Kirby really came into his own. Adventure. Right off the bat, Adventure is some of the best graphics on the NES, really pushing the available space and power to the limit. It was even able to have straight-up pseudo 3D effects on the NES. It was also significantly longer than the original,
nice
about
graphics.
4 times the length. Of course, all that pales in comparison to the biggest introduction it made, the copy abilities. These added an insane new level of depth and replayability. You now felt a genuine sense of excitement every time you saw new enemies. From a story perspective, Adventure introduced the iconic Meta Knight, as well as planted the seeds for DDD's character development. It was made even better with the Game Boy Advance remake, with the revamped visuals, controls, and an alternate story campaign. These two games definitely showcase the core formula of the franchise. Adventure invented it, Nightmare in Dreamland perfected it, and they both deserve respect. And from here, it would only improve.
I'll be honest, that was actually the first game I ever played, Nightmare in Dreamland. I didn't even know about the NES version. And I think that was actually the first game I ever completed. It took me a while to get back into the franchise, but now I feel like I'm a Kirby fan. So we have Air Ride, Mass Attack, and then the Dreamland 2 and remake. Honestly, which one would you prefer, the remake or the original? Let me know. Anywho, 7's coming up.
The DS really was the perfect platform for Kirby to start growing as a series. Kirby games are the perfect titles to pick up on the go when you have time to spare, and Kirby Squeak Squad came around right smack dab in the middle of this golden age. Also known as Kirby Mouse Attack in Europe, Squeak Squad begins in honestly the most Kirby way a game could ever begin. Kirby's about to sit down and enjoy a delicious strawberry shortcake, only for it to get swiped right before his starry eyes. Fast forward a few hours, and now you're on an epic quest across the world, and even to space, fighting a demon-possessed rat with only cake on your mind. Escalation doesn't even begin to describe how hilarious this game's tone is. This is the first and only game of the series to have the copy palette, where you can store abilities and items in your stomach. That adds a fair layer of strategy
like the Mario bubble.
levels. Apart from that, you'll even get to upgrade your abilities to the point where the storage can be used to mix two together. I tell you, you're gonna love swinging around flashy elemental swords for most of the game. But of course, the game's main claim to fame is the titular Squeak Squad themselves.
Rats, we're rats. We're the rats. I'm the giant rat that makes all of the rules. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into.
This band of thieves is a squad of infamous treasure hunters who you tussle with across the game, fighting its members as mini-bosses for all kinds of optional goodies. And for rats, these guys are creatively designed. You got the muscle, the speed, the brains, and the charismatic Phantom Thief leading them all. Really, the defining thing about Squeak Squad is just how beginner-friendly this game really is. It's a pretty long romp through Dreamland with plenty to keep you playing, but with just enough content that you can understand what Kirby's all about. That, plus the myriad of bonus content, makes Squeak Squad all the more replayable.
That'll do it. Alright, let's see what's next.
Pop quiz. What happens when you mix Kirby's gameplay with Metroid's complex level progression? That's right. You get Great Cave Offensive... wait, hang on.
Not yet. Not yet. Try again.
Sorry. Amazing Mirror. Usually, Kirby games tend to stick to its standard formula of linear platforming. Point A, point B, all that. However, with Amazing Mirror, they spice things up by turning it into a Metroidvania game. For those unfamiliar with the term, a Metroidvania title is one with a large, interconnected map. They require a lot of backtracking in some areas, but are guaranteed to satisfy those with a knack for exploration. So what happens in Kirby's first attempt at the genre? There's trouble in Mirrorland, and Meta Knight flies off to save it. Meanwhile, Kirby... What? Did I say Squeak Squad escalated things quickly? This escalated quickly!
No kidding.
I'm Ewan. So am I.
Ewan?
The fudge? So, we
four
got
Kirbys.
4 Kirbys now. And they're out for blood. They follow the phony Meta Knight into the mirror world, only to find their portal home
not to mess with Kirby.
Their mission, find the pieces to save the real Meta Knight and all of Mirrorland. For the most part, the game plays like a regular Kirby game and does a pretty great job at it, too. The graphics and controls hold up nicely, and you get the Smash ability.
Let me smash.
The Metroidvanian feature gives you the reign to explore this new world as you unlock one zone in the next. You do need to do a bit of backtracking more than once, which, if you don't have the patience for it, can get
luck.
old pretty fast, but it's a Metroidvania. It kind of comes with the territory. And what
True.
are the 4 Kirby's gimmick? Our main boy can call them for backup with a cell phone. But be warned, the phone's battery loses power in real time, so you have to find some more on your journey. Yeesh, was this provider Apple? The other Kirby's don't do a whole lot on their own, but they're always available in case you need help against an enemy or a puzzle. They're also used for multiplayer mode. And like 4 Swords, I wish it was more accessible. But all in all, the Amazing Mirror felt like a genuine effort
nowadays,
to
I
try
think
something
Nintendo's
new for the
starting to get
franchise.
their
Was it
right way
perfect?
of,
Not
you know,
really, especially if
multiplayer.
you aren't used to Metroidvanias. Was it a lot of fun? Oh, heck yeah. If Kirby could do this with the Metroidvania genre, really makes me wish they'd try it more often. Especially if you get to use the Smash ability.
And hopefully better multiplayer, let's be honest.
Kirby came a little late to the N64 with the other heavy hitters
I know where this is
already
going.
out, but he still got
Crystal
it
Shards,
to the end
anybody?
of Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. In his first 3D-ish title, Kirby is charged with finding the titular Crystal Shards to save a fairy planet from dark matter and...
That... You
I
mind?
keep freaking out over every scary boss Kirby has. We never make it to the end of the month. Yeah, spoiler alert, Zero Two barely even scratches the surface. Now, when I said 3D-ish,
So
I
we're gonna
probably
get a
should have said
horrifying bosses?
2.5D, because while it has
I don't
3D
know. I feel like
graphics,
that's where we're
it plays
going.
like a 2D side-scroller. Nitpicky technicalities aside, it's a nice change of pace
Nah.
aesthetic-wise and kind of paved the way for Kirby to thrive in actual 3D eventually. Spoiler warning.
More on that
Outside
later.
of the new graphics, Crystal Shards also features some pretty fun minigames where you get to play God on a checkerboard, but undeniably the game's best feature, the combinations. Kirby gets 7 base copy abilities in this game: Burning, Stone, Ice, Needle, Bomb, Spark, and Cutter. But this time around, you get to mix and match the base abilities
you
to
know,
unleash
some you
insane
get-
combinations. This gives you
Look at
28
this.
powers altogether, and literally anything can happen. You could turn into an
True.
exploding
As they say,
snowman,
anything
or
goes
a
here in
curling
Kirby
sword
Land.
that can freeze anything in its path, or even a freaking volcano, or even
Yeah,
a
not kidding.
Disney lawsuit.
Oh, come on!
The one catch is that you have to backtrack a lot with certain abilities you couldn't get in specific levels if you want to get some of the shards. Admittedly, some of the level design isn't engaging enough
the final
to make
boss
that
is
fun, but that's hardly a
locked behind the
thing.
wall, right?
Compared to some of the bigger cheese in the series,
what do you
Crystal
expect?
Shards kind of gets overlooked. It's a shame since when you look past the little things, it's a ton of fun.
Also,
the mini games
that-
are engaging in all those flipping combinations. Those alone earn this game a place on the list. Plus, like I said, they paved the way for even better 3D titles down the line. It walked so others could run.
You're wrong. Pretty much.
If Adventure was Kirby's Link to the Past, then Superstar is his Ocarina of Time.
That works.
Released at the tail end of the SNES's lifespan, similar to his
Kirby
predecessor,
has a Trinidad, doesn't he?
Superstar was promoted as Kirby's biggest title yet,
Had
with
a
a
Trinidad,
massive
I guess.
8 games in one. More importantly,
Sure.
it introduced a massive upgrade to the signature copy abilities.
Were you wearing a top
6
hat a
goes
minute
one.
ago?
No.
No.
Oh, too bad. I was gonna ask to borrow it. I love top hats!
Done.
And the most important thing, actually having different moves. This expanded them so much and
Sorry.
further added to the excitement of discovering them.
And
So
not
why
to
the
mention
frick
the
did
co-op,
Nightmare 3
though.
Squeak Squad not include them? Praising the games, Josh. You're praising the games. And then there were the games themselves.
Eh,
The
slow
Metroidvania
progress. What are you gonna
Collectathon
do?
of the Great Cave
Whatever
Offensive,
works, whatever
the
works.
Challenge of the Arena, and the planet hopping of Milky Way Wishes. And most of these were playable with a friend thanks to the new helper system. While they were admittedly short, they were still really fun and offered plenty of
This is saying
replay
could be
value.
worse.
The remake, Superstar Ultra, was even better thanks to the engine improvements, new characters, and even more games.
I'm
For the
kinda mad
longest
it took me a
time,
while to get
this
back
was
into
considered
Kirby,
by many
you know?
to be the definitive Kirby experience. It wouldn't be until years later when it was finally surpassed.
Man, you know a game is good when people say it's the quintessential Kirby game, and it takes years to get that title gone. You know? I'm just saying, with 6 games to do and 2 minigames, yeah, you did it right. Just saying, you'd be surprised. Anyway, we're down to the final 3. Shall we? Let's go. Ooh, robot. Nice. I'm up.
This game. Holy cow.
Ooh, boy.
Imagine taking Kirby, a character people already associate with everything positive and badass, and slap frickin'
Yep,
sci-fi
both cute
and
and
mecha over it. Just from sheer concept alone, Planet Robobot has everything going for it to be a fantastic game.
Amen.
Combining traditional 2D Kirby gameplay with levels designed after the new Robobot mechanic. Oh,
I missed the
Robobots
Robobot.
ain't just a simple gimmick, mind you. It's a surprisingly fine-tuned ride armor that, just like Kirby, can use copy abilities. With up to 14 abilities to adapt, this gives the Robobot
Kirby
a
became a
ton
mech
of
pirate.
variety of
That's
what it
dope.
can do. Combat, puzzle solving, and even traversing different modes of gameplay. But even outside of that, this game really pushes the 2D Kirby formula to its peak when it comes to solid level designs and really engaging boss fights. Heck, the Wispy fight in this game
Clanky
alone
Woods.
is just as good as the best fights in previous Kirby games. That
Yeah,
is
big.
the level we're at.
Good
Of
looking
course,
kid.
you also got your typical modern Kirby conventions with a surprisingly dark story
Dark
surrounding
story.
Susie and Haltman, as well as mini games like Team Kirby Clash and 3D Rumble. Both of these would spawn some pretty solid spin-offs that arguably became blueprints for later mainline games. Planet Robobot didn't break any ground in terms of what Kirby games could be or anything, but it is a really solid
more of
game,
a-
brimming
no,
with
the
great design
formula, see
and
what we
personality.
prove and what works
Although
and
I
what not.
guess I do wish we got to see more of the Robobot. It's such a good mechanic that
don't we
really
all?
feels like something that deserves to be in more games. Like, imagine a submarine water Robobot, or a wood chipper leaf Robobot, or a giant spider whip Robobot.
Please don't.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Don't push it too far, huh? Alright, 2 left. Still waiting for Return to Dreamland.
Sometimes devs don't like trying new things because, well, it's a risk.
Sometimes
especially in a
don't
long-running franchise. Why change for an audience that hasn't left you yet? But occasionally, you get brave types that take a chance, and it pays off. Like turning a turn-based RPG series into a more
Final Fantasy?
action-adventure type game. Or from an action-adventure game to a turn-based JRPG. Jumping from 2D to 3D especially is tough. But fear not, hypothetical person I'm talking to, Bubsy 3D, Kirby is not.
This ain't.
Forgotten Land was such a
Forgotten.
twist. A full 3D Kirby game in a postmodern setting. Also, whatever the heck Mouthful mode was. Still trying to cope with
So
that.
it's Forgotten
Either
Land,
way,
then
it looked
Return to
awesome.
Dreamland.
When we
Okay,
finally
cool.
got it, it was so worth it. HAL Labs did an amazing job taking the copy ability and the platforming of OG Kirby and turning it into a 3D platformer hack and slash. Yes, I said hack and slash. Oh, okay, you're telling me guarding and doing time dodges to slow down the game doesn't remind you of a Devil May Cry or Bayonetta?
No kidding. Pretty much.
It's good that Kirby brought those from Smash because it makes the combat so satisfying. Oh, speaking of copy abilities, each one
yeah,
was
you can upgrade them
rebalanced and given
with a
new
gun.
tricks to make them more unique. Yes, there aren't as many, but with the new upgrade system and ability tiers, you get some crazy stuff. Heck, even Sleep got an upgrade. Sleep! Also, Cutter is just broken. So is Sword and Hammer still, but can opener. Yes, Wambu got to me. And he will get to you too. Of course, the combat is one side of it because, yeah, these stage designs are some of the best in the series. While they fit the Planet of the Apes post-human world archetype that you see a lot, it doesn't stop them from being downright fun and unique. Mouthful mode was also a fun addition, giving us more ways to
Yeah, I mean,
interact with the environment, similar to
seems
Mario
memey, but
Odyssey.
surprising.
In a way. Come on, Kirby. That alone was worth it. And don't worry, the insane dark Kirby lore that you come to expect is still around. It might not be as franchise-breaking as Star Allies, but it will scratch that lore itch so much. You got blisters on your fingers! Honestly, my only major nitpick is that even though you have limited jumping, your dodging's not limited for some reason. Sometimes it can make the boss fights a tad easy.
Too easy?
Other than that, you got the best Kirby game released in... Most Kirby games are amazing, I can't say otherwise. When you do gambles like this, you expect them to either be complete garbage or an idea that shows promise but can be fleshed out more in the future. Well, like a dragon,
Yes?
Kirby nailed it first try, and when they do aim for a
Yeah.
sequel, it might actually top #1. Until then, there is the
We'll see.
undisputed king.
King.
No, the other one. Before
Not him. DDD. Not yet. But first, some honorable mentions. Let's see what makes the cut.
Dream Course How do you make Kirby toxic? Golf! Canvas Curse. Little Pink Ball's stylus adventure turned out to be surprisingly challenging. Epic Yarn.
If you knew what
An
to do.
experience as comfy as the fabric we see on screen. Triple Deluxe.
And
A game that puts Kirby on the map as a cosmic level threat. Star Allies. From a serviceable installment to a massive love letter for the series. Dream Buffet.
Nom nom.
Yeah, that's pretty much the game.
Chunky.
Yeah, whatever works, right? Anyway, the number 1 Kirby game? We all know what it is. Woo. No,
No, I'm
don't
not
count.
doing our boy dirty like that. Get the actual game.
Thank you.
Following 64
Better.
crystal shards, we
Ooh.
entered an 11-year gap with no traditional Kirby titles. The time was filled mostly with spin-offs or reinventions. These games weren't bad by any means. A lot of them ended up on this
Yeah,
list,
but a lot
it
of time,
felt
we
like
were just waiting for the
franchise
next
was
mainline game.
Missing something. Something that felt like a Kirby game. There were plans for more standard Kirby games for the GameCube and even got an E3 trailer in 2005, but... well,
Cancelled.
that happened. But miraculously, 2011 saw a hopeful return to form. A return to
Return to
Dreamland, if
Dreamland.
you will.
Bro. You had to.
Believe me, no one is more disappointed in me than I am for that one. For real though, as the name implies, Return to Dreamland features Kirby teaming up with DDD, Meta Knight, and Waddle Dee to recover the scattered pieces
bandana
of a
Waddle
stranded
Dee.
alien ship. But not before we suffer the greatest tragedy in the series. Why are the good taken from us so soon? Sorry, needed a moment.
Yeah, you're
anyway,
done.
this game really lives up to the return part of its title in multiple
True.
ways. It's our Pink Blood's big comeback to home consoles, and it's a huge return to the more traditional style of play. We're back to the more complex copy abilities and are even introduced to some especially great new ones. Additionally, you're granted super versions of your abilities that allow you to deal more precise damage. However, that's not to say that the game doesn't embrace the new. It maintains the 3D aesthetics that Kirby 64 laid the groundwork for, but it feels a lot more polished with some solid level designs that still hold up to this day. But undeniably, the best new feature RTD has to offer:
The lore?
multiplayer.
Oh, yeah,
That's right. For the first time in a mainstream Kirby game, we get
It ain't solo.
4-player co-op mode. Now your buddies or family can join in on the fun by playing as King DDD, Meta Knight, and Bandana Waddle Dee. Or just a color swap Kirby. Hey, at least the
Yeah, too
option's
strong.
there. Generally, the multiplayer carries the game as high as it is. It just feels so good to have a Kirby game to play with others nearby, while still bringing in a decent challenge. Even if later Kirby games arguably handle multiplayer better, this one thing helps RTD stand the test of time. When Kirby went back to
True,
the
you
basics,
never
he
forget your
came
first.
back in a major way. It brought back several staples, but also embraced plenty of new concepts to keep the classic experience fresh, feeling like a living amalgamation of the old and new. Not to mention how it ended up laying the blueprints for a lot of Kirby's future adventures, with plenty of content, fun multiplayer mode, and just overall
Not to mention Switch
enjoyment.
versions,
It seems
too.
only right to give Return to Dreamland the crown as the best game in the franchise. I'm Josh Scorcher, and next time we...
Uh-oh. Help!
Little on the nose, don't you think?
Yep. Well, looks like we'll be getting copy abilities next. So, I'll probably be back by then, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you for the next one. Adios.